Panthers tonight taking on the Eagles. Good to see Dennis White. Those kids are great kids, man. I like those kids.
Yeah.
Out of sight, Austin, 5'5", weighs 140. Tough as anybody you run into on the street.
Yeah, he reminded me of a guy that I heard of. Say his name was Moose. He got a side ditch. What his name? Do that fit the Andy Durham profile?
5'5", a little bit smaller than me, but the size of that guy's heart right there with him. Yeah, and I would run through a brick wall today if you'd find a nice loose one. Find me a nice loose brick wall, I'll go through it today. Why not?
Yeah, I saw it, Austin. When you look at him play, his size is certainly indicative of his play, man. He have a heart. As you said, if I had, you always come up with different teams, but if I had a do-all team that with nothing but heart, he'll be the #1 guy I put on my team.
And that Thomas Murray, interesting character there because he's a kicker for Page. He had not kicked football at all prior to his freshman year in high school, and he never played soccer.
Yeah.
He was never, most all these days your kickers are former soccer players. He picked it up and has done extremely well. Football might haven't been a former soccer player.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just listening to him because, you know, that's my heart. That was my role all through school and even coaching and on all levels, even at Smith. And I started, man, putting a football in a what we call the Vienna sausage can. I didn't have a team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I can kick that ball with all the kids. We used to challenge each other, kick it over the wires. And so that's how I started kicking the football, by kicking it over the wires, kicking field goals over the wires. And then so I just love to start kicking it. But as you said, a lot of kids, man, just now, not even on a soccer team, or that's the first place coaches go. That's what we did with Brewington. We went straight to the soccer team and got it kicking and say, oh, this you're going to do is just kick, kick, kick. You don't have to get hit in practice. All you're going to do is kick the football. But like you said, it's amazing with Murray, man. He's outstanding.
You know, it's kind of interesting, too, because I was talking to Thomas Murray about this. I said, what is practice like for you? Because back in the day, we'd see the kicker, he'd be up on the game field, because that's where the goalposts were, kicking during practice, up there all by himself, one guy. Go up there and do your kicking, and they leave him alone up there in the practice. Hey, John, get out of here, man, we'll get ready to run. You want to make sure he had to run.
Right.
Finish practice.
Right.
Get down there, man, it's time to run these sprints. But this time, he said they got like 5 guys who kick, so they're working together as a group. But, you know, usually the kicker was the loneliest guy in town, like the Maytag repairman.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the same thing that approach that we had at Smith that I worked there. Kickers, while we're doing is individual offense, and I have the kickers, as you said, in another part of the field, and they're just there challenging themselves. We'll start with a 20-yard field goal, and we'll do 5 of those, and then we'll work on middle dribble. Yeah, keep adding it up, and see. You know, because if a kid can hit a 30-yard field goal 5 times in a row, now if you hit 1 or 2, you know, we're still reluctant to put you in a game situation. But if you can hit 5 out of 5, now we got a chance to get a 3-point. And as you and I talked about, we've seen that happen with Benji, Kenji Patterson, and because of his practice. And, you know, that's something I love. You know, you and I get together on the broadcast. I just get with we have some great kickers, man, this year. I mean, wow.
Colin Smith, Thomas Murray, Cody Creed, Faraji Joseph at Dudley. You got Thomas over at Page. You got Colin Smith at Eastern Guilford.
That's right.
You got Cody Creed at Northwest. Should see Hunter Martin who's healthy. I told Joe Sierra, I said, if I'm Northwest, if I win that toss, I defer and I kick off the Page. And if I got Cody Creed, I'm going onside kick, first play of the game. I'm going to try to get control, because I can't sit around and watch Page take over and run that game, run me over. I'm going to onside kick. I'm going to tell Cody Creed, if you can, kick me when he hits about 5 yards ahead and bounces up in the air, and we're all going for that ball.
Yeah, that is true. And
if I control onside kick, if I get it and I get the ball first, then I'm telling the offense, let's take our time. We know about that play clock. We got a clock. We'll work it all down and run those plays.
Right, and then that's what I used to call. And a lot of people have different names when they get ready to tell the kicker how to kick an onside kick. A flatliner is what we talk. What exactly you're talking about? You want the ball, the oblong-shaped ball, to hit flat and bounce up on the highest part. Because if it bounces up on the top of the ball, the head of the football is going to go forward. You don't want it to do that. And when you sit in the pros, they just say when they flatline, that ball just hit on the dime and bounce up and give everybody an opportunity. Take the hit or get the ball. You know, that's what you want to do. You want to blast them off and get that ball. You're right. So you want that oblong ball to hit that 5 yard, as you say, go the distance, hit right in the middle and bounce up on the end. Because on the end, you're almost out of bounds. So you don't want to do the best kicking to go out of bounds. So like you said, you want to kick in that third or fourth guy. You want it to hit right there in the middle of them and bounce up, and you got a chance, to get it.
Kicker, sometimes they get penalized because the ball didn't travel 10 yards. You say, kicker, how can it be so you kick that ball in the end zone, but you can't kick that ball 10 yards? What's going on here?
That's the hardest thing. That is the hardest thing, because I said the oblong-shaped ball, you got that, and that's practice, man. That's practice. My best one was to kick it at a player.
Yeah.
You know, to hit him on the sideline, to hit him on the shoulder pad, the leg, and it bounces off of him. Yeah, because it's going your 10 feet, it goes your 10 yards, it's going your 10 yards, and it hit the opposing player, and it bounces back. You got a chance to get it.
Thomas Murray's got a strategy set for Page. He does a lot of pooch kicking, but he pooches down toward the 20, and either they can recover that ball or they're going to nail the opposing team inside the 20. Because we talked about this a while back, it seems like it's a lost art. Everybody now, they kick it in, so it's a great thing to kick it in deep, but every ball starts in the 20. Nobody gets pinned back inside the 20 anymore, so Page will kick a pooch down just inside the 20. He'll cover it there, and the opposing team's got to start, instead of going 80 yards to score, they got to go maybe about 85 or maybe 88 yards to score.
Right. Let's take you back. You and I talked about this Shelby Crest. Shelby Crest kicker was the best. He was finding the 40-yard line, the 30-yard line, and the ball was just landing. Now, the kick returner, you've got to sprint almost 10 yards, and the kickoff team got to sprint so it's an even ball.
Right.
And that's like you said, you want to kick it in a dead spot. And if you can pooch kick when they go up and it comes out in the dead spot, you have just a 50-50 chance. That's what you call it, your 50-50 balls, So
I told Thomas Murray, I said, I'd love, in my dreams, I always still dream about this, going back when I was younger, what I'd love to do is that kicker kicks it high and deep, and I run down there. I could probably get there. When he pops, I get there and get a good clean run at that ball. I'm going to catch that ball at about the 5-yard line. I've got the ball, because he didn't call, because he just couldn't see me down there running that fast.
Right.
He didn't call for a fair catch. I get down, I get that ball in my hands. It's mine because it's a free ball.
Because it's a free ball.
Ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what you and I was talking about the other night, a free ball. You've got to get on it.
Got to go up to that ball. What do you think about the Panthers' chances to win tonight?
Well, the Panthers have a big chance. Philadelphia is playing the best ball that club have played in a long time. And Philly has a great offensive line. I think that a lot of teams now, you and I talked about this a while back, in the NFL is building an offensive line because everybody was putting emphasis on defense. So now Philadelphia Eagles have, and the Washington Redskins as well, I know, give you a pat on the shoulder for that. They have built up their offensive line so much. Look at the Panthers. The Panthers put a lot, but now Philadelphia offensive line timing for the quarterback and the receiver. So their offensive line is clicking, man. Philly's offense is doing outstanding. So the defense tonight, Shaq Thompson, Luke Kuechly, Thomas, those guys are going to be so busy because of the offense, the way that they run those seam routes. The linebackers is going to be the busiest tonight if you ever seen them play.
Got to get into Kickback Jacks, 8:25. They'll kick that game off. The Panthers tonight taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Big game tonight. Kickback Jacks here on Battleground Avenue. Great football. How do you see that game ending? What's the final score going to be?
Final score, I see the home team winning by a touchdown. We can go 28-21. I think it's going to be a very close ball game. It's going to be a close ball game. And Cam Newton is now coming into, after all of the issues, interruptions. I think this Panthers team is focused now. 4-1. Yeah, absolutely.
I think the best thing he did was make that apology. Once he made that apology, it cleared the air, and everybody can move forward. Everybody kind of loved each other again, at least for a while, for a minute or two, and they were to play football. What about Ed Dixon? How many yards for Dixon tonight? 175 last week, I think, on 5 receptions.
And that would be a big night again. Big night for Ed Dixon. You're right. I stick with that same. Try to repeat that again.
You think he's going to do it again?
Yeah, try to do it again.
Yeah, Devin Funch has been getting the ball well, and Kelvin Benjamin doing well too.
Kevin Benjamin. Oh man, Kevin Benjamin is the part to the puzzle that if he comes together, that's Cam Newton's best target because he is so tough and he's so big. If he can get that Jason Witten mentality of toughness, Kevin Benjamin right now, I don't think he have come into.
It's almost like that Devin Funch's toughness in that New England game. He was on the sideline, he just stretched to hurt his foot. They put him back in the game just to throw the ball to him, just get the first down and get him back out of the game again.
Right.
Because he's doing so well receiving.
Yeah, you're absolutely
and he was
right.
tough enough to take it, even being hurt.
Yeah, and people didn't know how the Panthers receiving core was going to react without Greg Olsen, and so as you and I talked about when Greg Olsen went down, this give an opportunity
Next
for
man up.
next man up. And you and I talked about Fellows over at Detroit, how he is doing an outstanding job, and
Ebron's got to find a way to still contribute and keep his name out there, just in case it doesn't work out at Detroit, he could go someplace else.
Yeah, and that's so true. You have to produce and be productive in the NFL, as Don and I was talking about. That's a payday. That's how you get paid, by being productive.
Monday morning,
yes, sir.
through that pay window.
You go, that's when you
get that check. How about who's the coach who had the biggest influence on your sports career? Any coach over the years? We're asking the kids about that tonight.
I would say any coach. I can go back I would say in 9th grade, Coach Earl Lawrence. Earl Lawrence spent some time in the Baltimore Colts organization. He came into our community and transcended your ideology of thinking that you can be somebody more than what you are in sport. You have to be a student first. You can't. He took us from being acting out clowns trying to find yourself to a student athlete. I think that's the first time. And Joe Paterno, that's when Joe Paterno, when Penn State won the national championship, and Joe Paterno said that he wanted a bunch of students before athletes. That's how you win a national championship. And in the Dean Smith era, those are the times that I was coming up, that you had to believe in yourself as a student first. And so Earl Lawrence put that in me, took me to the side and said, I don't care how good an athlete you are, comedians get paid to clown. If you're going to be a part of a team, you have to be dignity. You have to have integrity. He shaped me more than an athlete. He shaped me as a person, and that's why I went into coaching. That's why I turned out to be the athlete and the student I am, because of a mentor put something in me to make me want to be somebody.
Now it's Coach Lawrence?
Coach Earl Lawrence, yes. Earl Lawrence, awesome man. Woo! Wow.
What about this big game tomorrow night? This big Eastern Guilford at Southeast Guilford game. Who do you like in that game?
I'm going with Eastern. I think Eastern have what it takes now. Eastern gave up a ball game. Page really beat them twice because they lost to Page. They didn't recover. They went and lost at Smith, and they allowed Smith to hang around. I think they found your favorite word, their identity now. The kids have put themselves in position. Hey, the old team is gone now. Claps is not here. The Burt Bar, those guys are not here. We've got to step up now. They've taken the load off of Dominique Graves and spread it around to everybody. And so I'm going with, when you look at Tinsley run Eastern offense.
So you're going to go with the teacher versus the student?
The student, yes, yeah. And Tinsley was under tutelage for Robinson for years. So everything that he knows, Kung Fu says, the teacher is always greater than the student. You never can beat your master.
So far, that would mean that Coach Kennedy Tinsley cannot yet grab the pebble out of Coach Roberts.
Absolutely, you got it. You got it. Kung Fu, man. You were right on it. You were right on it. Right now, he can't do it.
Not yet.
And I don't think it's going to be his year. I think.
Who do you think is going to stand out for Eastern tomorrow night?
I would have to go with Dominique Graves. I think Graves is going to have a sensational game because this is conference championship.
Right on.
This is conference championship. This is, you repeat what you did last year. You're going to get yourself a first round bye, playoff, a home field advantage. This is what you and I talked about right now, and it's crucial that you win these games for Eastern because you going in basically predicted to win this ball game.
Right. Your favorite.
Your favorite.
Yeah.
And you have to stand, even though it's homecoming for Southeast, you have to be prepared to go in and play in hostile territory.
Do you think Page will have a struggle at Northwest? Coach Walters goes back to his old school. He was 23-14 in 3 seasons at Northwest. He's got a different team at Page. Going back home, homecoming there tomorrow night as well.
Yeah, not a chance. Northwest won't have a chance. When Trey Turner went out, unfortunately for Northwest, that was his season.
What about this Southwest Guilford? They've got a game at Smith, but I'm looking a little bit deeper in this Southwest and Dudley situation. In their conference, they both still have Mount Tabor to play. Will Mount Tabor knock off Dudley? Will Mount Tabor knock off Southwest Guilford? How's that going to unfold and stack up?
It'll be great for Dudley if Tabor go in and beat Southwest. Tabor going to beat Southwest. Dudley beat Tabor. Now it's a 3-way tie. Dudley is back where they feel they belong. And it's going to take Tabor to beat the Southwest, because Dudley and Southwest may not get a chance to play each other. They may end up in that old 3rd or 4th round. You and I have seen that in the past. They end up, like, for an example, that year that Smith and High Point Central. Smith beat High Point Central in that pivotal game 6. First, second round of the playoffs, who Smith had to see? They had to see High Point Central. High Point Central come into Claude Mansley, beat Smith, wipe off that 10-1 season. Smith's season is over. And so we could certainly see that. And we saw that Dudley, when Dudley, that year they played Northeast.
Right.
Over at Dudley, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Dudley and Northeast beat them. And so Dudley beat them during the regular season. Northeast came back with McCain and beat Dudley that year. So you can see these teams can come back and haunt you.
How about this? How about who will be the player of the year in the county? We were talking about top back last week. We're talking about player of the year now. We talked with Joe Sear about this because last year it was a clear-cut 2-horse race between Will Jones of Page and Hendon Hooker of Dudley.
And
Hooker won it. Who's going to win it this year?
You know, it's real hard. You had me to go back and look at the players of the week, and I'm looking at. It's going. I can't really see a clear-cut winner, like you were saying. What's some favorites that
Some
you
of my
have?
nominees are Zariq Rush of Dudley, Malachi Maintenance from Ragsdale. One guy nominated, his team has not yet won a game, but he's got 1,688 yards combined rushing and passing, 19 touchdowns. Edric Purnell has got more yards than anybody, but no wins at all. Another name I've got, kind of a dark horse, coming up on the scene right now, is Ford Moser over at Northern Guilford. He's got 700 yards receiving. He had last week 177 yards and maybe 2 or 3 touchdowns. He's become a favorite now too. And any of those guys, you like any of them?
Oh, most definitely. You call out some names. Malachi Manus, man. You and I have seen that kid. He is phenomenal. And as you said, his team haven't won any games, but he had the best season of anybody. I agree with you,
He should have
man.
asked to be traded in week number 2.
Yeah.
I want to be traded.
And you and I talked about, if you take a kid like a Malachi Manus and put him at a Dudley, put him at a
Yes.
wow.
Yeah.
His name, everybody will know this kid.
And they know him pretty well, but Purnell, I don't think anybody knows Purnell.
Right.
He's got huge numbers.
Right.
Huge numbers.
Purnell, Western Gifford.
Yeah.
Purnell at Western Gifford.
Yeah.
I would say Malachi Manus, but I mean Purnell at Western Gifford. His team haven't won, and you and I have seen him play, and he can flat out fly. He can hit the sideline
and gone.
As you say, long gone. You know.
Long gone. What about some college games for you here, quickly? You've got State at Pittsburgh on Saturday. State's come off a big win last Thursday night. And what about this week?
Well, you know, I've always say to you about the NC State Pack, Wolfpack. But Packs are playing a great game. They're having a great season. And then we have a lot of Gifford County ties, so I will have to go with NC State. Forgive me, Don Moore, based on the Gifford County guys.
They're off next week. Then they got Notre Dame at Notre Dame. Then they've got Clemson at home. State, big schedule coming up.
Big schedule.
Can't overlook Pitt. What about Florida State at Duke? Florida State's 1-3. Duke's 4-2.
Have to go with Duke.
Think Florida State does not resurrect. Duke will win. Virginia at North Carolina. Virginia's 4-1. Carolina's 1-5 and having some tough time.
Carolina. I can't get away from Carolina.
Going to pull it off. Going to be a big win there. You've given most of your favorites for tomorrow night. And as we get ready to go out of here, what's been the thing that's surprised you most about this entire season up to this point? What's one big surprise, or maybe a surprise that you've seen this year?
I think Dudley. I look at the play of Dudley have really surprised me with the close games. The defense of Dudley over the last 3 years have never given up 14 points. In this year, their defense have given up a lot of points. I'm real surprised at how close every team I played Dudley Smith. The last 4 teams that played Dudley have been very close to beat Dudley. And as you and I talked about, that Southeast could have easily beat Dudley. Page could have easily beat Dudley. Durham Hillside could easily beat. This Dudley team of years of the past Dudley teams have never had anybody play them close like they've done this year.
Do you think Dudley's back now?
I think they're back. I agree with the old ball coach, Coach Bill Slayton. If Dudley's healthy, who can beat them?
Yeah.
And once they get healthy, it's going to be a totally different Dudley team.
How about our buddy Alex? Can we get him in for just a couple minutes?
Yes.
Is he available?
Yes.
Get him in for 2 minutes. We'll let you join us to the side there. Donna, grab Alex. And as we get that going tomorrow night, we're going to be with Dennis White over at Northwest Gopher, Page at Northwest. We'll have Wyatt Smith at Southeast, Bill Slayton Stadium for Southeast versus Eastern Gopher. We'll have Chris Walser. He will be over at Smith for Southwest at Smith tomorrow night. Got the Cowboys visiting the Eagles, and the Cowboys next week have Mount Tabor. Then Mount Tabor's got Dudley the last game in the regular season, with some big games involving Southwest, Dudley, and Mount Tabor the next few weeks.
Oh yeah, those are what you call your marathon games, because right now it's going to be a lot of work to put into it to see who won it. And last year Dudley did not win the 4A Metro Conference, and they went on to win the state championship.
Yeah. Good point.
So you know, you look at that, and of course you want to win the conference outright, a tie. Now, and then let me ask you this: with the tie, how would they go with the seedings of the playoff?
I think they may go back to the Max Prep rankings. They may use the Max, because that's
the rankings,
the formula they're using this year is pretty much based heavily upon the Max Prep rankings, which currently have Northwest, I think, at 108, High Point Central 111, and Northwest lost to High Point Central 21-6 last Friday. A lot of this is based upon strength of schedule and things that kind of come together like that.
Yeah.
So good answer. Max Prep's rankings, people are starting to hate those right now, starting to hate them, but they may have to take them no matter what.
Because it plays a big part.